Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing? This is Beyond the Brand. Welcome to the moments that made us. This is a place where we tell stories. We talk about branding stories, because if I ask you to think about a brand that you know, a powerful brand that you admire, I know for sure, and this is what most of us see, is the beauty, the glamour, and the success. And this is what I like to call the tip of the iceberg. And we forget the things that are underneath, that before a brand becomes what it is, before it becomes powerful, there's blood, there's sweat, there's going to be strategic decisions that are made, there's going to be late nights, and there are a lot of things that go on with a brand that we don't get to see. So this is a place where you come, we have tea together, and we have conversations about moments that made us. I love to say that brands are built around three things: a love story, a backstory, and a gap story. So I want you to go grab your cup of tea, come right back, and let us talk about moments that made us. Welcome to Beyond the Brand, moments that made us. And my story today is about the mission that shaped my brand. And these are lessons from my 19-year-old self. So I graduated from high school. I went to Nyeri Baptist High School. It is in Kiganjo in central Kenya. I graduate at the age of 17 years old. I come home. I'm very excited to get to my next level. And what's my next level? To go to college. I wanted to study business. I also wanted to study law. Oh my goodness, I think actually that's a very good story, because the reason I wanted to study business is because in high school, I actually aced in the business studies. I think we used to, business ed? Yeah, it used to be called business education. And I really used to ace in that. And I remember coming home and telling my mom, I want to study business because I want to work in a bank. Why do I want to work in a bank? Because I see tellers counting so much money. I don't think I was that stupid, but for some reason, I kept thinking because they are passing so much money through that machine, they also must have that kind of money. Shock on me, because fast forward, I actually worked in the bank and I realized they don't make so much money at the teller machine. But back to the story. So I graduate high school. I'm very excited. I wanted to study law and I want to study business as well. But I get home and of course my dad tells me in not so many words that unfortunately you can't go to college now. You have to wait. Why? Because I have siblings and I have an older sibling who had just gone and joined college and she wanted to become a teacher. So she has to go and do her teaching college. And then me, I need to wait. Why? Because money, right? I have to wait my turn. And so it is between high school and college, which took very many years, that I start working. And I had started working as a babysitter at 14. That is a story for another day. But I start working other jobs. I work in the library. I work at the reception. I work at the coffee shop. I do so many things. But as I do this, first I do this for a year. And then I had grown up with missionaries. I think if you go back to my backstory, I grew up in Tigoni, in Brackenhurst. And I grew up in a place where I was surrounded by missionaries. And of course, I was very exposed to how they did things. And I liked it. And guess what? I actually did become a missionary at the age of 19. I wouldn't say that I became a missionary because I was a very good Christian. No, that was not the reason. Not also because I wanted to go and serve people who are starving. That was not the reason at all, because I know that's what missionaries come to do from the US, from Canada. They want to come and save Africa. No, that's not what I was coming to do, and that's not what I wanted to do. I was actually going on this mission trip because I needed to do something. I needed to find something to do, and there was no money to go to college. So I took a forced gap year, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. It was a very long gap year, but I used this gap year to become a missionary. But even though my reasons were not because I was such a good Christian and I wanted to serve the world, no, it is because first, that's what I was exposed to. Secondly, I just wanted to fill my time. But even though my reason was not to go serve people, I actually did enjoy serving people a lot. And we went different places in Kenya, talking mostly to young people. And we used to talk to them about God. We also used to talk to them about true love waits. People who grew up in my generation probably can remember this, that this is a message that was preached over and over again. Even in my high school, Nyeri Baptist, we got people coming to talk to us about true love waits. True love waits is about abstinence, yeah? That you must abstain until you get married. So this was my mission. I used to spread that word, true love waits, and we also used to talk about God, and we used skits, we used drama, we used music, we used Bible studies, we used anything we could to go and talk to young people in colleges, in high schools, in churches, and this is in different parts of Kenya and also out of Kenya, because I do remember we went to Tanzania, and we went to Tanzania to a very remote place called Singida, and I remember we probably spent a whole month in Singida. We went to Uganda as well, different places, and we would go and hold what are these things that people hold in the markets, right? Crusades. We would go to crusades, we would go to churches, we would just go and just speak to young people. And in Kenya also, we spoke in a lot of places, including USIU, which is again a story for another day. Including USIU, we would just go and talk to young people in different schools. Why am I telling you this? Because this mission actually did shape my brand. As I was in the mission field, I interacted with a lot of people from different backgrounds. As I was in the mission field, I networked with a lot of people, some who are much older than me and some who are younger than me. As I was going around spreading the gospel, I learned how to tell stories, because the way we would talk to these young people would be through acting and singing. And so I learned that you can use a simple story and get the message across. And so I learned how to communicate through these missions. Through these missions, I learned that you don't have to have everything. You can actually work with what you have, because some places we would go and we would sleep. I remember one time sleeping in a church, and all we got was a very small pillow. This was, I think, in Arusha. Very small pillow, and we were told this is where you're going to spend the night. When we went to Singida, we would wake up in the morning sometimes and all we got was black tea without sugar. And the women had really worked hard to bring us that black tea. And I saw lack. I really saw lack. And it actually made me forget. The reason I am here is because I didn't have money to go to college. It made me forget all that. And I saw myself as a very fortunate and privileged person. Very fortunate and privileged. Yes, I didn't go to college because I didn't have money, but I'm over here with women who are topless. We would minister to people and the women are coming topless, not because it is their culture. It's because they don't have anything to wear. We would go to places where kids would have flies. I know. By the way, this is what missionaries do. We would go to places where kids would have flies all over their mouths, and we're over there acting. We would act the stories of Jesus. I would be Mary, the mother of Jesus. I would be wearing those gowns, and we're ministering to people who are really hungry. Of course, we would take them food. But I'm just saying, like, this is the place where really my core values for my personal brand, this is where they were born. And I believe that God took me to this mission. I had to go through that for me to really understand how privileged I was, and for me to really understand who I was, and to really get in a self-discovery journey. Because this is where I realized that I really loved people. And I do. Up to today, I love people. I love my fellow humans. This is where I realized that I love to serve other people. So for me, even if it's a board meeting and we're all educated and I have to serve somebody tea, I actually don't serve people tea because they told me to serve them tea. So that debate of women should serve tea has never really gotten in my head, because if I want to serve you tea, I serve you tea because I want to serve tea. I hope that makes sense. But it is in this mission that I learned to live with people, interact with people, work with very little money. Because, by the way, we used to be required to pay 3,000 shillings. Was it 3,000 shillings? No, it used to be 1,500 shillings. Yes, we used to be required to pay 1,500 shillings every month. And we would pay this upfront, and then they would give us this money at the end of the month so that we can take care of our own personal things. Like, for example, so I can buy sanitary towels, so I can do I don't know what, buy my soap, buy my toothpaste. And so I survived on 1,500 shillings a month. Can you imagine? And so it really taught me things. Yeah, it got me so many lessons about my own personal brand. And I like to say your personal brand is not about the superficial things. It's from inside out. It's about the things inside you that made you. So when we talk about the moments that made us, these are the moments that made me. These are the places that I went. These are the people I saw that made me to become the person that I am today. Some of the lessons that I can pick from my mission story is, first of all, you must know that your brand is built on service. I like to say that the best definition of personal branding is about identifying your uniqueness and then exploiting it in the service of other people. I love to talk about a holistic brand, a brand of the 3 I's, a brand of influence, impact, and income. And I'll tell you for free that if you're making so much money with your brand, with your business, with whatever it is that you're doing, and you're not impacting people and serving other people, depression is going to be on its way. How many people have you seen? They have so much money, big cars, and then they throw themselves in front of a train and they die. And you know what they say? Life is meaningless. People don't need me. I am not useful. The world can go on without me. If you're not serving another person with your brand, you're going to feel very meaningless at some point in your life. So when I was doing this mission, I learned the lesson that really your brand should be built around serving other people. My brand is built on the service that I provide and that I offer to other people. The other thing that I learned is that storytelling is powerful. During my mission, I learned how to tell stories. Guys, you should have seen me wearing the gown, being Mary, mother of Jesus, and I would act it out. I would be the lady also at the well where Jesus went and the lady was giving him, was it water, I think? And I acted that part. I'd actually memorized. It was like a poem that I was telling. I used to tell it in Kiswahili and also in English. And instead of going and reading the Bible to the people, to the women, because again, will they understand me? What is communication? Communication is about getting the message across. Communication is not being so much of a good orator. It's about getting the message across. So if I'm going to be talking to these women in Singida who may not understand my English, the best way for me to pass the message of Christ to them was through acting it out. And that is storytelling. And so for you, as you build your brand, storytelling is going to be a powerful way for you to build it. Tell a story. People love stories. People love to sit and sip tea, and listen to a good story. And again, I like to say, brands are built around 3 stories. Your love story, that's a passion. Your backstory, that is your experience and the things you've gone through. And then your gap story, the problem that you're solving, the solution that you're bringing to the table. So again, storytelling is very powerful. The other lesson I learned is that influence is actually a responsibility. Influence is about you leading the pack. It's about you showing others the way. I know for sure that it is a responsibility for you to be influencing people to do good. And that's what I do with my brand. And I learned it from my mission, that as I influence those people, the kids there, the young people there, they saw me as a leader. Whatever I said sort of felt like or sounded like gospel truth. That was influence. Yeah? And influence is a responsibility. The other thing I learned from my mission is that impact requires consistency. That you cannot say that today you're impacting people and today you're doing something totally different. It is a way of life. It is a lifestyle. I have chosen that impact is going to be my lifestyle. Remember, 3I brand, influence, impact, and income. And so as I make my money from my brand, I also want to make sure I am leaving a lasting impact. I am also shaping the legacy. I know for sure I cannot choose the legacy I have, but I can actually contribute to it and I can actually influence it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm influencing my legacy by the impact that I'm causing and the help that I'm bringing to people. That's a big lesson for you as a brand as well. What are you doing with your brand? Are you bringing change to people's lives? Are you impacting people in a way that they will remember you? That because of Hannah, this happened. Because of Ethan, this happened as well. The other thing is that your brand should align with your core values 100%. Like I said, a lot of core values were brought out to me during the mission. I learned that probably I have some little bit of patience within me. I learned about integrity. I learned about being kind to other people. I learned about loving the people who maybe feel they're not lovable. I learned about respecting other people's opinions in the mission field, because sometimes some people say things and you wonder, it's very easy for you to wonder, do they even know what they're saying? But also I learned that to respect people's opinions and to know that people have something to say and to know that people are not really empty vessels. Everybody has something to contribute. And those core values were brought out to me in the mission field. And that is how I have been able to shape my brand, leaning on and aligning with the core values that I have. And those values were shaped during my mission field. Oh, the stories we will tell. And these are the moments that made us.